We are going to our TCC bronze medalist, Tom Doherty in California. He's working on silver.
I was going to say, if I'm going second, am I silver now?
You're, yeah, I think you're probably getting there. So, Tom, you're up with Joe JACOBI.
Joe, awesome to talk to you. Thank you for being here today, but also thank you for being here every week, right? I always look forward to when Joe's participating each week in the TCC meetings. I'm curious, how would the Joe JACOBI back then and team do in today's commercialized, like crazy Olympics? I feel like the Olympics now is like pumped full of like just massive amounts of commercialization and, you know, fees and.
Yeah, I think about this. So interestingly, I mentioned Andy Reese and the coaching company we work for. There's another Olympian who works with us named Inga Stestilianiti, who is a javelin thrower for Lithuania. And she and I do a monthly LinkedIn live chat. It doesn't have a name, but we just pick out elements of the performance mindset and we talk about it. But on our last episode, we talked about some of the areas of how the Olympics build us up. And there's a lot of that, you know, I mean, the idea of the Olympics is that you go there and they make you feel great. Like you go to this Olympic village, it makes you feel great. You get letters from kids every day. It makes you feel great. I think, you know, there is a sense of building up. And I would say, what about your question about like how I would deal with it? Because it would be harder today. Social media didn't exist, at least not to the way it does. My last games was 2004. And I do remember joining Twitter just before going to Beijing, as you know, working for NBC Olympics in 2008. So there was a little bit of a spread there. And I always thought I was pretty good on the business side of the sport. You know, what I'm coming to here, Thomas, is that I think, especially with a lot of young people and what I've had to confront in my own health and wellness, is just sort of the role of ego in this, right? You know, and this is not an easy thing. I don't think it's an easy thing to talk about, but yeah, when you have people telling you you're really good at something, you're believing you're really good at something, and you also think like this is just the way that you push yourself forward. You know, it's been a lot of work over the really just the last few recent years where I've let go of so much of that. And it allows me to see the Olympics differently. I don't think this is an easy environment to thrive in. I know that many of the sponsors that are willing to support the average Olympian, Joe Malloy can also speak to this as well. I think most of the sponsors that are willing to put real money in the hands of an athlete are willing to do that on the basis of social media likes, follows, engagement. And I think that's hard, you know, because I think that's just an extra sense of weight that the athletes have to carry around. I know for a fact there are other ways for athletes to be valuable to corporations and organizations and teams than just how many people lightly touch them. I think if these organizations really give these athletes a chance to go deeper with who they are as people, I think, you know, we've seen, you know, Shante Lowe is a great example of this, Scott, right? Yep. If, you know, there are other ways, but like, yeah, I don't think I would do so well with that. I don't know that I would manage the relationship with my phone so well if I were doing it all in my 20s. I'm trying to do it well at 52. I know I'm doing it better, and it's like still not easy. But I just think that ego is a really hard thing in this game. And you know, I think Ryan Holiday is really good about talking about this literally in the title of his book, Ego is the Enemy. I think it's a good thing to just sort of be aware of and to think about, and just I always ask myself, like, where is the ego stepping up? Or like, you know, and yeah, I think I would scare myself a lot if I were 22 and doing this right now. I don't envy that from today's Olympians at all. But Joe Malloy may have some really interesting things to say about this, and also he's on the recruiting side, the talent identification side of this for USA Triathlon. And, you know, Joe can be the best at recruiting talent, but like there has to be some element of, you know, who you're bringing into, what kind of person is going to show up on race day of the Olympic Games. And I think their relationship with the kind of things we're talking about here is going to make a really big difference on their ability to pull through and be successful in the end.